Disclaimer. While the events in these stories are true, the names of all individuals, except myself and John, as well as the names of the washing machine company and the appliance shop, have been changed. This isn't to protect anyone's blushes. It's because I can't afford the legal fees, as I have no proof of any of it happening. Mortimer and I both started with laundry dynamics on the same day, and while I was a rookie, Mortimer already had some experience. Our manager, Hobson Grindle, was one of the best, a man who earned loyalty and respect. When he asked us to help out on a Saturday morning, we didn't hesitate, even though weekends weren't part of our usual routine. The job took us to the warehouse of Electric Dream Superstores, where the boss had been causing trouble. He'd been replacing faulty machines for customers without letting us repair them, then reselling the used appliances as brand new. One machine in particular had been shocking its users, a dangerous fault we'd normally diagnose with a Mega, a high-voltage testing tool, but Laundry Dynamics didn't issue us Megas. According to the MD, we don't need no Megas. We get by with multimeters. I had my own digital multimeter, cutting edge for 1980, but it wasn't enough for this fault. That's when Hobson came up with a plan. Mortimer would test the machine by lightly touching it to see if it was live. Mortimer agreed, reluctantly, but he wasn't suicidal. He used the back of his hand, as I'd been taught, to avoid clamping onto the current if the machine was live. Sure enough, it gave him a quick zap, and we traced the fault to a defective mains filter. After replacing the filter, the shock stopped, and we were rewarded with pizzas. But the highlight of the day wasn't fixing the machine. It was watching Mortimer cram an entire 10-inch pizza into his mouth like a human conveyor belt. Hobson and I were speechless. Mortimer might have been a chancer, but moments like these proved he was truly unique. The next story takes us to Mortimer's downfall. By this point, I was no longer green, but still learning on the job. I was sent to repair a washing machine that was causing interference with a customer's radio. From my training, I suspected a faulty mains suppressor, but when I opened the machine, there was no sign of it. The wiring seemed odd, and after some investigation, I learned the suppressor had been removed and bypassed by Mortimer on a previous call. He charged for the part but hadn't installed it, intending to fix it later. Unfortunately, when the call was reassigned to me, he failed to warn me. The customer's neighbor, who was present during my visit, pieced things together after I left to rebook the call. She told the customer, and the complaint reached Hobson. Our senior engineer, John, was sent to repair the machine, refund the charges, and apologize. Mortimer was sacked for his actions, not out of malice, but sheer stupidity. He'd removed the suppressor to avoid a callback and a daft competition among engineers to see who could finish the month with the fewest callbacks. To this day, I regret not handling it differently. If I'd replaced the suppressor and smoothed things over, it might have been a storm in a teacup, but Mortimer's decision cost him his job and the company its monthly competition. Fast forward to the early 2000s. By then, I was working as an SVQ assessor, helping engineering apprentices achieve certification. One day, while driving out of my office in Hamilton, I encountered a large domestic appliance van that suddenly cut across my lane. I slammed on my brakes, feeling a terrible shudder and hearing a strange noise. I was convinced the van had hit my car and the driver wasn't stopping. I gave chase, determined to catch him. When we were both caught at a filter lane, I jumped out, ready to confront the driver. To my shock, out climbed Mortimer Clank, cheerfully greeting me as if nothing had happened. Turns out, there had been no collision. The shuddering and noise were just my anti-lock brakes and gravel under the tires, a first-time experience for me. Mollified, but still annoyed, I let Mortimer have it, ending my rant with the lame line. "I am so disappointed in you, Mortimer." The lights changed, and we went our separate ways. As I drove off, I couldn't help but laugh. Of course, it had to be Mortimer, creating a reunion as bizarre as everything else about him. And that's the legend of Mortimer Clank. 3 stories that still make me smile to this day. If you enjoyed these tales or have similar stories of your own, leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories from my time as a domestic appliance engineer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.